Okay, here we go. Time to wrap up the Tobey Maguire trilogy, and I'm saying that because this is in fact going to be my reaction to Spider-Man 3 after having done already the original and Spider-Man 2. And it's quite a big moment for the Tobey trilogy, even outside of the release of No Way Home bringing back Tobey Maguire, but also because this year marks the 20th anniversary of the original, but also today, when this reaction goes up, the 15th anniversary of Spider-Man 3 releasing in theaters is going on, and therefore it is probably only appropriate to react to the thing that is Spider-Man 3. Whether it has aged well or not, we could take a look at the closing number for Sam Raimi's trilogy, who also happens to have a movie coming out this week as well. It just so happens to line up that Sam Raimi, who directed Spider-Man 3, is also going to be releasing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness this exact week. So the stars have aligned. It was in the cards, and I would say this is probably as perfect time as any to finally get my Spider-Man 3 reaction out of the way. And in case you are wondering, we're going to be reacting to the theatrical cut, not the editor's cut, because I feel like being that we're celebrating the 15th year anniversary of the movie coming out in theaters, we should take a look at the version that came out in theaters, not so much the editor's cut. If anything, maybe I'll do some kind of deep dive retrospective review on the editor's cut, kind of like I did a few years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago on my older channel, to kind of break down the beat by beat play as to how it is that they made that editor's cut work and whether or not it benefited the film in a full-length retrospective video. If you guys want to check that out, feel free to hit the thumbs up on this video to let me know. With that said, and no more further ado, let's check out Spider-Man 3. Time to get my Bully Maguire on. Now remember, I saw this in IMAX actually. I saw it in IMAX and I didn't necessarily see it opening day, which breaks my heart a little bit thinking back. But it meant seeing it in IMAX because I had to wait for my brother to become available because my mom didn't want to drive too far on the freeway to check it out, so I had to wait for him. And when I was in the theater and I heard the sound different, I was like, something's up. Red flag number one? But seeing how the intro is playing out exactly like the other two films got me giddy once again. You can kind of see a little bit of the symbiote on the webs, and then they tried it out differently. The 3 goes in there like that. I was like, that's pretty dope. And then this was only the proper step in the evolution, is to then have the title sequence use actual images and actual clips from the prior 2 films, because the first one obviously used like stylized graphics, 2 used paintings to summarize the events of the first 2 films, or rather the first film, and now the third one, it's got to take the 2 films but actually step it above. So when I was a kid seeing this happen, I was like, yeah, this makes sense for a title sequence. And then of course it's gonna foreshadow the movie with the blickety blackety goop. Although when I started hearing this music, even as a kid, I was like, it sounds like Danny Elfman, but I just can't shake the feeling that it's not Danny Elfman. And then when I saw original music themes, I was like, oh, then it's not Christopher Young. He's the composer. He still did a good job of matching Danny Elfman's kind of style, but there's always still something there that made me go, it's not Danny Elfman. Damn. And for a while, they said that it was scheduling conflicts, but then years later, it came out that there was actually some creative differences between Raimi and Elfman, so who knows? And then seeing the Raimis have some kind of notion in the script, I was like, oh, okay. So they're a little bit more involved. Peter Parker. And again, I don't want to make it sound like I knew everything, but I saw that opening swing and I'm like, did they really just reuse the final swing from Spider-Man 2 and just color grade it differently? Why are these kids alone in New York? I never understood Raimi's choice here to make the... But first of all, you're in college. What the fuck are you doing shooting spitballs like that? You're in college. Grow the fuck up. So I guess I kind of just answered my own question. Like, I was going to ask, why did Raimi make the nerds the bullies? Like, look at them. They're like, you guys are supposed to be intimidating. You're not Flash, you know. We would want to fight you too, either. Yeah, whatever. Layaway. I hate layaway because now they call it afterpay. My girlfriend tries to come up with all different sorts of excuses to use afterpay for a lot of things. You know, I can get this with afterpay. This is Raimi just
Flip
with Peter at this point. And I always figure that this intro is very much like the Saturday morning cartoons where everything's just so jolly happy to the point of like saturation, but for a reason. As soon as the music shifts, we know who's up there. Dun dun dun. The Sexter.
I need to talk to you. Explain things.
And admittingly, this subplot carried over from the repercussions of Spider-Man 2. Definitely a huge strength for the film. It should have just focused on that.
The applause wasn't very loud.
Yes, it was.
That was the first red flag for the movie, where she's like, the applause wasn't very loud. I was able to hear it right there at the end when he's finished singing. And seeing that silver mask, I was like, God damn, that would have been perfect for an actual good hobgoblin setup for Harry. And instead, they just made him look like a snowboarder. Not a bad shot when you think about it. About the way that it started off as a real web, but then of course has to turn to CG to get the camera to pan around. Props for that one. And then the introduction of the symbiote. Yeah, it would have been a nice little way to still incorporate John Jameson into the mix via the original comic book origin. So, as a kid though, I didn't know that. I thought that this was like legitimately it, but no, that, you know, now finding out what could have been the alternative, I'd say that would have been probably a little better. And then intro to subplot number 2, Sandman. Again, could have picked one or the other, my opinion. They did just turn the corner. You didn't see him? It was always weird how he broke the bread. It's like so supposed to be symbolic. He still has a helmet from the pizza delivery job. I just noticed that. He still has a sticker too.
And you said yes, right?
No. I wanted.
Anticlimactic. Matter of speaking, that's kind of where me and the girlfriend are. Because everybody keeps asking, when are you asking? When are you asking? And I'm like, can we just move in first? Make sure we don't kill each other. Make sure we don't run out of money. And then we'll put it in writing.
Oh, he was a knockout in his bathing suit.
Ew.
I didn't look too bad myself.
Ew. Interesting little piece of environmental storytelling. All the fine china, all the fine stuff for the tea and the cookies. And then there's the pills. The apparent amount of pills.
Go on. Take it.
Yes, you can. For God's sakes. Thought she was gonna. I remember even when I was a kid, I thought she was gonna do that, but she didn't. And he actually took it. Well, here we go. Yeah. CD didn't age very well with Spider-Man 3, which is weird because it's the newer movie. And yet the CG looks better in 2. Not so much 1. 1 looks a little rubber bandy, but here it looks just as rubber bandy as 1.
He was trying to kill me. He killed himself. Shut up!
That is actually pretty sick when you think about it. He was there, and you see the wallpaper from inside. Yeah, in 4K you could legit see how sharp and smooth the CG doubles are. With all that said and done, the choreography, as far as how much they're beating the shit out of each other, I dig it. Able to catch it. He was able to catch it. No, like I said, in terms of choreography and set piece spectacle, this is actually pretty good. I just wish that the effects have aged better. Oh, and then this is where he gets bamboozled. God, I remember I saw this in the theater, and even though this is supposed to be a serious moment, people cracked up when he hits his head on the pipe. I was like, come on, man. You can't do this. You can't do this in the theater. No, not the doggo. They climb over the barbed wire like that with such ease.
Where'd he go?
The more I think about it, the more incompetent this police force really is. This just makes me think of No Way Home. It's like, well, we gotta stop falling into things. You gotta be careful where you fall into. that always also kind of, like I said, try not to nitpick all too much, but it was going at a fast enough speed that he should have been torn to bits. He's still only human here. Would anyone be able to know exactly what constitutes as short versus long-term memory? Because he says short-term, like he can't remember what happened. But the whole thing that happened with him and his dad, that was, fairly recent, but I would probably say within the confines of a few months.
I don't remember much of anything.
Why would he not remember that? Like, that's not short term. I feel like that's closer to long term.
He died, right? This is all so weird.
He specifically forgets how his dad died. He remembers that his dad's dead, but not how. And they put him on a shit ton of Valium or
Somewhere.
Skywalker Kush there.
Now I'm back home.
Peter's just like, man, that is cheesy.
Yeah, great.
The memes from that one frame. And then, most definitely one of the standout sequences of the entire movie. Say what you want about Spider-Man 3 as far as like the humor and how they tackled Dark Peter, Bully Maguire. But this scene in particular, just by itself, is a standout that actually made me a little annoyed that this was not nominated for Best Visual Effects. And also one of the moments that to me made me go, okay, Christopher Young, you're not Danny Elfman, but you're definitely standing tall with him as far as the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is concerned. Like he tries and he falls. Like that is perfect. And even though the CG doubles in that earlier sequence between Harry and Peter didn't age well, the sand on Sandman here did. Right here, this moment. And then the shift in the music, if you pay attention closely. Done. The door.
The review.
Oh god. Here we go. Here we go with the things that didn't exactly, for sure, didn't age well with Spider-Man 3. MJ's troubles.
This isn't about you.
Here we go. It's about me. Oh my god.
I know, and I'm
Because we would get it. We would totally fucking get it, except you're in a play, Peter saving people from crimes and disasters. Police scanner. Look at it from that perspective, maybe? That hentai shit. Okay. One thing's for certain, though, and MJ's issues also help solidify this. But Peter, between MJ and Gwen Stacy here, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, I'm sorry. You made a mistake, buddy. I don't know what it is, but Bryce Dallas Howard, get that thick. Yo, some people died right there. This crane has a mind of its own. It's like a horror monster, a horror movie monster. It's funny though, because I remember this sequence being in the trailers, but looking a little better in the trailers. Like even back then. And if you were to watch the trailer now, you would be like, they de-rendered the CG? What's going on?
the new guy. New guy?
The way he said it, new guy. Damn, it's been like 45 minutes. We're just getting JJ?
You tell my wife!
Still has it though.
Drink plenty of water.
Whose idea was it to put the vibrating thing on the desk? Now, what I mentioned in my original review for the first movie. Remember when I said that it just started off with a small assortment of pills? And then it just got bigger and bigger with every movie? It all culminates to this.
Parker! You're late. Maybe too late. Bruckner here. Beach too.
Brockman.
Son, we'll use your shot. I'll pay you $50.
All right, JJ.
50?
Stupid little dream. Working with one of the greatest newspaper editors of our time. J. Jonah Jameson.
Smooth. He played that smooth. Oh.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference.
Yes, you did, Stan. Yes, you did.
Thank God you're all right.
Thanks, Bernard.
Bernard, he made sense in the first two movies, but here he almost has like that like feeling about him, like he doesn't even know that he's in the movie. And his explanation later on in the movie. I mean, let's not even get to that yet. Oh, and there he is.
Why are we stopping?
That's the composer right there on by the piano, Christopher Young. Here's the thing, and I didn't actually think about this at all when I watched this as a kid. I keep saying kid, I was 16, but I did. It is now kind of sort of karma, because she did the same thing to Peter. Remember in Spider-Man 1? And then he's like, hey, like the girl behind, well, comes back around here. With that said, Peter deserves to get his ass kicked for doing that. That was a funny gag. It's funny, you normally don't see Sam Raimi doing handheld Bourne Supremacy style kind of shooting, but here he is doing that, and he's actually doing it very well. He's not in the trunk. He is the truck.
I am here today because I fell 62
What
stories.
the hell? I just noticed the kids on the right just jonesing in their seats. They're like... I really do wish that more movies would incorporate the actual classic Spider-Man theme right there. I was actually a little bummed that it wasn't in No Way Home. Shazam? Really? The kid had the right idea. And then a cameo here by co-producer Grant Curtis, being that poor soul there. And then I know it's supposed to be sand, but in order to get it to move like that, I remember in the behind the scenes stuff they said that they pretty much went with like oatmeal. Like it's not even sand, and you saw how it looked like there.
I'm the sheriff around these parts.
It was fun while it lasted, having a little bit of actual quippage by Spidey in the Raimi trilogy here, because that's one thing that I wish that they would have had more, and we got a little bit of it there. I just don't know why they didn't go fully with it. Oh, I just realized that's a dummy. I never noticed that until now. That was a very blatant dummy. Just went, he just got stiff and just got lunched right out. Oh, here we go. Here we go with the groovy man. Just realized a whole plate with a napkin just to deliver a pen.
Romance. I am French.
When I
Peter don't give a shit. This is not a spoiler. I'm not spoiling anything, even though there have been rumors, but I'm not spoiling anything. I look forward to seeing in what kind of capacity is Raimi gonna bring in Bruce Campbell for Multiverse of Madness, because I mean they're boys. How can he not be in there?
look at you. Wow, beautiful.
Ooh, the side cheek kiss. That's when you've been with someone long enough and they just give you that peck on the cheek, you know that something's wrong.
Do I deserve this?
Oh, imposter syndrome. The OG imposter syndrome. And this is the thing. Here's the thing: is that this is one of those moments where you're like, if only they had just talked to each other instead of just writing it contrivedly like this. It would have been an easy fix. But again, Pete.
Who gets kissed by Spider-Man, right?
Between MJ and Gwen in this one, I gotta be honest, man. I can't deny the thickness. Oh my. No. He's getting fed up.
Where are you going?
Please don't follow me.
Again, we had just had proper communication.
Call me.
For God's sakes. And in a matter of speaking, you could say that here we are watching subplot number 3. Oh my God, and one of the biggest what the hell moments. I was like, really? We thought that this was the killer, but no, it turns out it was Flint, even though that was never in the comics. That was never a thing. They just wrote it into this one here. One of the big red flags for the movie, in my opinion. And that was from the trailer, even. Even from the trailer, I was like, why are they making Flint Marko the killer? And poor Cliff Robertson, they actually got him back for this flashback.
Now you're telling me you had suspicions for 2 years? Witnesses? Why weren't we told about this?
Those are some legit questions, actually. I know it's supposed to be a dramatic scene, but that cut to him just tapping. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh.
I made a move and he fell. I told you that.
I'm not accusing you of anything.
Now this is good that in between movies he disclosed the full details. And this is probably one of the stronger. Here's the thing, if it wasn't Flint, someone else, but at the same time this could have been a good plot for something else or for like a different movie, not in here. And definitely not tied to Flint. And then here comes Sam Raimi going back to his Evil Dead roots with the shadow there. He's about to get touched. Yeah, let me make you feel better. The silence here I thought was pretty cool.
Where am I?
And it drops right there. Imagine hearing those horns in IMAX with this shot right here. I will admit, I was like, all right, this is actually kind of legit. At least this particular moment. And he just doesn't question it immediately. I mean, he questions it somewhat, but not as much as, the costume that you've been wearing this entire time just all of a sudden turns black.
It can be hard to unbind.
So a couple of things here. One, good to see Kirk Connors back, kind of keeping in line with what their potential plan for Spider-Man 4 was going to be with the Lizard, because he's still here without the arm. But also, these movies need to get their priorities straight. Also, how did it didn't it go over his suit? Why is it now like a separated suit? Yeah, see, look, and immediately we're right here. It makes it seem like he hasn't had proper building of him with the symbiote. Immediately his gut reaction should be like, no, this is not safe. I haven't tried it. Kurt Connors told me not to put it on. And yet he's putting it on right away. There's no development. It just feels kind of like we're just jumping at the bit here. But also, these movies' priorities are weird. In Spider-Man 2, they're like, oh yeah, this mini son I just developed, but we're gonna completely ignore the fact that he developed AI inside of these built giant tentacles. And now here, they're worried about it getting on him because it has a symbiote nature, but it's an actual living alien. We discovered alien life, and we're not gonna acknowledge that? This is pretty cool right there with the shadow. And though as rushed as we were to get to this point with the suit and not having the proper build-up or development, at least it led us to this sequence between Sandman and black-suited Spider-Man. I was like, you know what? This is actually choreographed rather well. What's with Thomas Hayden Church in this movie? Every time he's making a facial expression, it's always like, look at my teeth. I have excellent dental hygiene. And then here's the shot that, yes, they reused, or at least an alternate take, they reused for Spider-Man No Way Home. That, sadly, even I noticed when I saw the movie. I was like, did they use Spider-Man 3 footage? Although this is cool right here. The little pop zooms. Classic Raimi. And that's the end of that subplot. For now. And then... why have the need of actually doing it? Just let it fall into place at the very least.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door.
Bully Maguire is now born. And yeah, I remember the trailers showing this moment right here, and I was actually a little bummed out to see that it didn't do what it did in the trailers, where they flash a quick shot of Venom, not the symbiote, but actually Venom. And he's like, whoa, what the hell? And that would have been cool. Play it into the horror aspect of it. So see, look, this right here, I feel like this should have been earlier instead of just jumping right away with it.
Spider-Man doesn't kill people. What happened?
Well, that's a good question. See, what happened was the Tootsie shot. Gotta get it in there. I wonder what those other names are. They gotta be Easter eggs. I am buying for the whip. I mean, I know that some time ago, James Franco would say that he is a painter. He does like to paint. But that good? Is he really that good? Hey, yo, I just realized she's making the cookies that she's gonna feed him later. For when he's bullying Maguiring. Pretty sure they're missing all the seasoning though. Like seasoning. Oh, you mean like salt, right? No, that's not at all what I mean. Meanwhile, the shit's burning over there, guys. It's burning. And here, okay, yeah, that I remember someone on Twitter putting it out there that Mary Jane in this trilogy legitimately cheats on someone in every single movie. Especially with the guy that she was starting to date at the beginning. And then, I don't know what happened in the process of writing this character, but something got messed up. Something went wrong. Willem the Goat returning.
My father. He died, right?
Yeah.
I love how they use the wrong clip. Well, intentionally. It's not wrong because when he says yeah, he's talking about getting better or seeing you guys tomorrow or something like that. But they use that bit for him when he asks if his dad died. I find that hilarious and great.
I was right about her.
There he is again. And now after watching No Way Home, I'm like, man, Willem Dafoe really did this. I will admit, that got me. Actually, that kind of got me right now. Yo. She's the only one that was able to get the door open. I've swung through that bridge a number of times. In the game.
Peonies.
Stupid.
You okay?
I'm gonna start using that from now on. Peonies. And yeah, I have heard the argument since then where people have said, you know, she could have just like acted with her face, but then with her, unless he's really good at lip reading, she could have been like, Harry's memory's back. He's making me say this. You have to go and take care of him. Easy. And it's true.
I'm the other guy.
What?
Jerry Springer sound effects.
You know that.
The hell's wrong with his eye?
Started.
Half of that edible's kicking in.
How's the pie?
So good.
Yeah. That's the face he makes whenever he gets a text. Even the guy behind him. I like that little detail of the guy behind him actually like, what the fuck is that? And the eyeliner just magically appears. Oh yeah, okay, and here, I was confused why in No Way Home he says, I've been stabbed before. And I'm like, when did he get stabbed? I'm like, I legitimately couldn't think of it, and it was here. In Spider-Man 3, the last place I would look for. Ooh.
Protected you in high school, now I'm gonna kick your little ass.
So many memes. It's a little time. And poor Harry, he just keeps being run into things. I know it was probably the Spidey sense, but it always bugged me that there was no music there. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, no sound effect. Like the little zoom. And so the Bully Maguire strut begins.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
The lines. Why'd they give him these lines?
When are you gonna give a guy a break?
So you just admitted it. Like, why did you say it? Get religion? I don't know what these fucking lines.
If you do this, I will lose everything. There's not a paper in town that will hire me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philip Mewson. Don't know what I'm talking about. Just Google search Philip Mewson. Philip with a F, not a PH. An F for a good reason. For fake.
Haven't printed a retraction in 20 years.
Here we go. Won't be able to show too much because of the music, but they're the cookies. They look good. I genuinely wonder whose idea. I mean, I think Sam Raimi takes credit for it, but whose idea was it that this would be the bad Peter Parker, the bully? Because it's just him looking like an idiot. The hell, I'll even take... God damn, I just noticed the guy sticking out of the windshield. Why? And this is, I personally don't believe this is even the worst of it. This one kind of makes sense for the moment, but to then repeat it later, he's got himself a fly suit. That reminds me, I gotta get my own brand new suit. Here we go. Oh yeah, and Sony called. They want Sandman back. And Sam Raimi was probably at this point like, really? Okay. And oh yeah, there he is.
Hey, keep it open there, Pops.
Pops, giggle. Like it's obviously very indicative that they modeled Bad Peter after some thug or whatever you want to call it from like the 50s or 60s. I remember, I think Toby even said in an interview that that's the era that they took it from, as far as his mannerisms and his vernacular when he goes bad with the symbiote. It's like, okay, like Ryan Reynolds says in that meme, but why? Yo, I just noticed that guy in the back kind of looks like a young Willem Dafoe also. Look. Right there. Right in the middle. Wherever that guy, look at it. Look, it's even got the same bone structure.
Isn't that your old girlfriend?
Yeah.
Do you want to go someplace else?
Look at that. She's considerate. She recognizes things. She pays attention to detail. Like, god damn. Gwen was the girl in this one. Oh god, here we go. This, to me, I feel beats the dancing from the montage. This, to me, is worse. And here's the funny part. I had a friend in high school when this movie came out see it opening weekend, and I couldn't, obviously, like I said, because I had to wait for my brother to be available to take us to the IMAX theater. But he would come back that Monday morning and tell me, dude, it's bad. There's a scene where he dances and he says this right here. Hold on, let's see what gets to it.
Now take all this.
He says that. And he told me this, and I legit could not believe him. I did not believe him whatsoever. I was just thinking to myself the entire time, it can't. You're bullshitting with me. I mean, April Fool's was last month. It's May now. You can't be serious. No, like I refuse to believe him. I was just that close-minded. I was like, it can't. He's wrong with me. And then as I saw this go down in IMAX, I was like, well, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. Damn. Wait, is no one gonna help her up? Just realized that. And this was the money shot from the trailer. Like, we were all like, oh my god, he's got the black suit on. He's gonna go dark. And it happened after in reality, it happened after a dance sequence in a club. Like, if only we had known. One thing's for sure, like, New York has some dope looking cathedrals and churches. I wouldn't mind visiting some of them. How can he...
Parker.
How can he see from all the way down there? That doesn't make any sense. And here comes Sam Raimi with more horror movie tropes. Right here with the entanglement. I always thought it was kind of freaky. It goes in his mouth like that. Like right there. Subplot number 4.
Of course, there's not much you can do, is there?
I do notice that we spend more time in Peter's apartment in this one than we ever did even in Spider-Man 2. Maybe that was one of the problems. Oh, she able to open the door. Wait a minute.
I want him dead too, Flint.
He's gonna walk away from that? He's not gonna be like, what the hell is that thing? Like, that's definitely not Spider-Man.
So, where to?
I will admit, that got me when Hal Fishman? I feel like there's a pun in there somewhere. But yeah, that jump scare actually did get me when I saw this first back in 2007.
An actress recently seen in a brief stint on Broadway.
That definitely felt like something out of the Saturday morning cartoon. The way that whole news bit was delivered. Now that I think about it, this is the first time we hear this theme. The one that we heard in No Way Home. A good moment too.
Apparently, Spider-Man's being challenged to some sort of confrontation.
He even got the font too and everything. Look at him. Brock shouldn't have been a photographer. He should have been a graphic designer.
If I may, sir.
Here comes the next biggest plot hole. God damn it, Bernard.
The blade that pierced his body came from his glider.
I understand, Bernard. Where the hell was this entire time since the first movie? That was the biggest biggest problem. And even then, who's to say that he didn't die the way that Tom almost killed Green Goblin in No Way Home with the glider? Like, can't rule that out. Here comes the screaming. The screaming from Spider-Man 2 again. I don't understand why Christopher Young didn't use the original bongos or drums or whatever it is that Elfman used. You can barely see the symbol on here.
Hey, Parker.
Taking off the mask. Why? Again, this is where we started to get into the problems with the newer Spider-Man movies. Just screeching at everything. Again, that CG model still don't look all that right. And the mask just happens to be there. Again, this is one of the things that I genuinely loved about the Batman. The instances where he doesn't have the cowl makes sense, but for the majority of the movie, if he's Batman, he's Batman. He's got the mask. He's not coming up with reasons to continuously take it off. The cameraman. His little laugh always cracked me up.
It's hard to believe what's happening. The brutality of it.
I never liked this reporter. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about the way that she's talking about the events that, to me, just, I don't know, it just bugged me. The brutality. I don't know how much more it could take. Even in 2007, kids didn't talk like that. Wicked cool. Tubular. Cracked. Shouldn't it crystallize with the fire? Oh yeah, it did. Oh, I forgot about that. I gotta be honest. I like that they did bring this whole outfit ensemble back into No Way Home with the hat and everything. I mean, man, that entire time, she had time to take out the film. Yeah, that thing's still hasn't fallen.
You okay?
Yeah.
It's also funny how this lens got higher with the rippage of the mask. It sounded like he said, oh shit. There goes Sam Raimi with the horror again. My skateboard now, punk. I think you still could have used the skateboard. I mean, the glider. Comes that CG head again. Oh yeah, and this right here, even as a kid, I was even like, god damn. You can see his skeleton. Right. Yeah, he did. He's for sure dead.
I just want you to understand.
And I would say, like, this scene would probably have all the more impact if we just didn't go through with the whole symbiote thing, and maybe the two of them were just going neck and neck instead of just one giant skyscraping style of battle that typical blockbusters would, and end up this way. Off to go into a different universe. Or Spider-Verse. Here comes the ugly Toby cry. Never been the greatest at crying on screen. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna be Spider-Man, you better get ready for a lot of funerals. It should just come in the resume. If you're gonna be Peter Parker or Spider-Man, you better get like 3 different style of funeral suits. But pretty dope. Cameo by Flash. Once again, they're in the back. I wouldn't want to die neither. God damn it, that line has haunted me since then. Meanwhile, the band members are like, what's going on? I will admit, sitting in the theater going like, wow, no final swing? No uplifting message? Damn. We really are just gonna end it like that. And that is ultimately what we're left with at the end of Spider-Man 3. And here's the thing, rewatching it now, there is one certainty. One common thing that I kind of just looked upon across the board is that yes, there are very hefty issues and flaws with the script, especially from a studio angle where you can tell that Sam Raimi wanted to push back against Venom. Maybe have the symbiote in there, but not to actually do Venom in his entirety. Maybe Eddie Brock will be playing a part, but not actually become Venom until possibly Spider-Man 4. So yeah, so many things, and we all know the stories by now here 15 years later. But one thing we could definitely take away is that Sam Raimi still directed the hell out of this movie. His style, the way he moves the camera, the way he's able to tackle certain things or certain visuals is still kind of felt, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still feels like it belongs in the Raimi-verse, if that makes any kind of sense. And I'm hoping that we still see that kind of staple and that kind of atmosphere and aesthetic and approach to certain camera angles, to certain visuals, to certain things that in the way that they play out in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because that's the way that he operates. He's one of my favorite directors out there, and even though Spider-Man 3 is arguably and objectively the worst of the 3 Raimi films, there's still things that you can kind of poke and prod and look at and be like, you know what, that was actually not too bad. Yes, you fumbled, but in the end, you still came out with a 3rd film that is probably better than an awful lot of other franchises' first films. Venom. So you can at least give him and the rest of the people behind the production of this film and the acting and all that amount of credit at least. And now with the epilogue-like context of No Way Home, with a couple of lines here or there of him saying that things are complicated, but we worked it out with his inclusion in No Way Home. It's good to see that they're acknowledging the way that Spider-Man 3 ended. Like, they recognize that Spider-Man 3 left on that I guess you could say cliffhanger in terms of him and MJ's relationship, and knowing that there was no 4th film is like, yeah, we gotta have something be said in No Way Home to address that. And that's cool, that level of self-awareness is always pleasing, especially for people who are huge fans of the franchise. So now I throw it over to you guys. Here we are 15 years later. Has your opinion of Spider-Man 3 changed in either direction? Did you love it when it first came out, and then now you're looking back going, what was I exactly thinking? Or did you have your reservations at first, but now warmed up to the film as probably the underdog of the trilogy? Let me know in the comment section below. I will try to see how I can move forward with reactions that from this point forward with the Andrew Garfield movies, the Tom Holland movies, but then jumping over to the other franchise that I'm a huge fan of, which is of course Batman. So only time will tell, but I'll of course be sure to address you guys that in a future community post or video. In the meantime though, thank you guys for watching. Check out this other Spider-Man video showing up on screen right now. And as always guys, stay humble. I'll see you on the next one.